Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Vivare Hari Gopi Jana Ballabha Vivare Hari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from Srimad-bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 1, Text 17. Chapter is called The Advent of Lord Krishna. Uvir Dripa Nripa Yaja Daityanika Shatayutaye Akranta Burivarena Amanang Sharanam Yayo Uvir Dripa Nripa Vyaja Daityanika Shatayutaye Akranta Burivarena Pramanam Sharanam Yayo Uvir Dripa Nripa Vyaja Daityanika Shatayutaye Akranta Burivarena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. Avyaja Jaichanika Shatayutai Kranta Purimarena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. Kumirvipavyaja Jaichanika Shatayutai Akranta Purimarena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. Kumirvipavyaja Janika Shatayutai Akranta Purimarena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. Kumirdvipavyaja Ajanika Shatayutai Akranta Purimarena Brahmanam Sharanam Yayo. Word for synonyms. Bhumi, Mother Earth. Dripa, puffed up. Dripavyaja, posing as kings or the supreme power personified in the state. Daitya, of demons. Anika, of military phalanxes of soldiers. Satya Ayutai, unlimitedly by many hundreds of thousands. Akranta, being overburdened. Puri Parena, by a burden of unnecessary fighting power. Brahmanam, unto Lord Brahma. Sharanam, to take shelter. Yo-yo, went. Translation. Once when Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military phalanxes of various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Read after me. Once when Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military phalanxes of various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Srila Prabhupada's purport. When the world is overburdened by unnecessary military arrangements, and when various demoniac kings are the executive heads of state, this burden causes the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 7, Yada yada hidharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutana vadharmasya sattadatmanam sajamyaham. Quote, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I appear myself. End quote. When the residents of this earth become atheistic and godless, they descend to the status of animals, like dogs and hogs, and thus their only business is to bark among themselves. This is dharmasya glani, deviation from the goal of life. Human life is meant for attaining the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness. But when people are godless and the presidents or kings are unnecessarily puffed up with military power, their business is to fight and increase the military strength of their different states. Nowadays, therefore, it appears that every state is busy manufacturing atomic weapons to prepare for a third world war. Such preparations are certainly unnecessary. They reflect the false pride of the heads of state. The real business of a chief executive is to see to the happiness of the mass of people by training them in Krishna consciousness in different divisions of life. Chaturvarnya maya shrishtam guna karma vivaga shaha. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 13. A leader should train the people as brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, and shudras, and engage them in various occupational duties, thus helping them progress toward Krishna consciousness. Indeed, however, rogues and thieves in the guise of protectors arranged for a voting system, and in the name of democracy, they come to power by hook or crook and exploit the citizens. Even long, long ago, asuras, persons devoid of God consciousness, became the heads of state, and now this is happening again. The various states of the world are preoccupied with arranging for military strength. Sometimes they spend 65% of the government's revenue for this purpose. But why should people's hard-earned money be spent in this way? Because of the present world situation, Krishna has descended in the form of the Krishna consciousness movement. This is quite natural, for without the Krishna consciousness movement, the world cannot be peaceful and happy. Wow. Srila Prabhupada wrote this in sometime in probably 1977. So we see how much it applies today, so many years later. Yes, they say history repeats itself. In fact, that's that's actually the people who are really historians. That's their interest. They see what has happened in the past, what good came out of it, what bad came out of it. We should learn our lessons from the past, so we don't make the same mistakes again. That's the idea. But still, the tendency is to make the same mistakes again and again and again. So in the time of Lord Krishna, which is just a very well, actually, it was at the Lord Krishna was present. It was just at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, just crossing over to about ready to cross over into Kali Yuga. Actually, Kali Yuga started the very moment that the Dwapara Yuga, actually the very moment that Lord Krishna left. So at that moment that Lord Krishna physically left this world, then that's when Kali Yuga started. But just before that time, just at the very right at the crossover, just before Kali Yuga officially started, things had already started becoming very degraded. So the Bhumi, the personified earth, she was feeling very overburdened. She says that Earth of course is personal. I mean, Earth is not just a lump of big rock out there and floating in space. There's actually the personified Earth. Actually, everything's personified. So there's a personality in charge of the Earth, and that personality was feeling very overburdened because of the nature of the accumulation of so many people of demoniac nature on the earth. And so it says here in this verse how these people, they were taking the position as kings. They were dressed as kings, but they were not performing the actual duties of a king. The actual Kshatriya kings, the pure devotee kings, their real business was to manage their citizens in such a way that people would gradually elevate themselves. They made sure that one of the duties of the king, of a proper king, was that he would make sure that everyone was engaged according to their nature, according to their varna and their ashram. And it was important that everyone is engaged according to their position. Because if you're not engaged according to your position, one thing you'll not be satisfied, and if you're not satisfied, how are you going to concentrate on anything spiritual to gradually make spiritual advancement? This was a problem. So there were many people that were of demoniac nature. They're atheists. They're atheists. They were very bad nature, and yet they were in the position of kings, and their real business was just increasing their military strength more and more and more and more for so much so that they were not performing their actual function as a king, which would be benefit to help people to gradually make spiritual advancement. Their real business was just showing that, look, my country or my kingdom is stronger than yours. We have more soldiers, we have more power, we have more elephants. For elephant in Vedic times was considered to be a very sign of opulence, because it takes a lot of money and a lot of trouble to maintain one elephant. So if somebody has thousands of elephants under their control, then they tell this is my power. So in any case, they had that, and they were not engaged in proper activities. We also, this is not, and it was not just when Lord Krishna appeared at that time. The same thing happened, I think, in Satya Yuga at one point. Satyuga when King Prithu appeared. So before King Prithu appeared, his father was there, Vena. But Vena was a bad guy. He was a bad guy. He was thinking he had the position of a king. He was the emperor of everything, very powerful. But he didn't understand the purpose of the king. In fact, the king and the Sanskrit word is what? Naradev. Naradev. The king might be referred to as Naradev. So Naradev means, Nara refers to a man or a human being, and Dev means God. Like God, the king was supposed to be God, and like a representative of the administrative power of God. Like they said, the king could do no wrong. You're the king, nobody can object to anything you do, supposedly. That was the king could do no wrong. So King Vena, as a king, he was supposed to be representative of God, but he took it that no, I'm God, I'm God, and so he thought he really believed that because he ordered his citizens, especially the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices for the benefit of the society. He said, don't perform those sacrifices for demigods or for Vishnu or anyone. You perform those sacrifices for me. The results of all these sacrifices go to me, not to Vishnu, because I'm not different from God. I'm God. That was his position. And of course, that was a very big problem because the sacrifices performed for him was not actually representative of God. There was no benefit, and because the sacrifices were not being performed in the wrong way, or not at all. That what happened was the earth started holding back, because we cannot, as Srila Prabhupada says, use the term, you cannot eat nuts and bolts, right? We have nice fruits and vegetables and grains and so many things, but if suddenly all those things stopped growing, all the vegetation in the world stopped growing, then what are you going to do? You can create. As the Srila said, you cannot eat nuts and bolts. There's things you can manufacture, but you can't eat those. Food actually has to come from God. So during the time of King Vena, the whole world was becoming. The people were starving, even though it was in Satyuga, because by his order, all sacrifice had stopped. Right, and then because of that, people were suffering greatly, and the Brahmanas were trying to convince him that you have to change your way. We're your advisors. You need to correct this. You need to perform sacrifice. You're hurting the people in general. All the people you're supposed to be protecting, you're hurting them. So he. But he refused. He refused. The order was that no sacrifice to perform for Vishnu. So the Brahmanas had to do something for the benefit of the people in general. So they, after trying again and again to convince him to change, they said it's not going to work. So they cursed him. They cursed him to die. by their strong words, by their curse. We curse you to die. So immediately he died. King Vena, he couldn't, he could not avoid the curse of the Brahmanas. But that also led to more problem, because now they had no king. There's no king. And because there was no king, then the king has to make sure that the low-class people in society are not don't cause problem for the society. So if there's no king, then those who are inclined towards being thieves and rogues and like that, they're going to do their business. They're going to steal. They're going to hurt people like that, because there's no king on top to make sure that they're under control. So on one hand they had to do something to stop King Vena from his notorious activities, but then without a king, these other things were happening. So therefore they performed the things that they could do. The Brahmanas back then had more ability than like in modern times. So they took the body of King Vena. The body of King Vena had been preserved. He was not. Body was not cremated. His body was his mother actually kept his body preserved in some oil, so it was still intact. And so at one point the Brahmanas they took that body and they performed some activity that we beyond our knowledge of today. And they first of all they extracted the bad qualities out of him. They took a personified form of what was his name? The personality. I think it was Nishada or something like that. Anyway, because King Vena was actually came in a very good line of all of his forefathers were very good. Somehow or other something changed. I think his mother was the daughter of death or something like that. So something that was unusual there. So he had this bad quality. But before that, it was very good. So in his line, previous to him was very good. His father was who? King Anga, I believe. King Anga, who was also a very good king. So anyway, the Brahmanas they were able to take out the bad quality in the form of this one personality, and then they performed something further, and they were actually able to extract two personalities from the body. After all the bad qualities were out, they were able to. They said they churned the body in some way. I don't understand how, but this was the description of Srimad-bhagavatam. And from that, two personalities appeared. Who were Kritu, and Archie, Queen Archie. And of course, King Kritu was an incarnation or an empowered incarnation of the Lord, empowered to be the field of administration as a king. He was empowered like that. And of course, Queen Archie was a partial incarnation of the goddess of fortune. So this is a partial incarnation, an empowered incarnation of Vishnu, she was an empowered incarnation, a partial incarnation of the goddess of fortune. So he, in Kritu, he put things right. There's a long history of several chapters in the fourth canto of Srimad-bhagavatam. But anyway, he put things right again, making sure that sacrifices were being performed, and everything started going very, very nicely. In any case, that was the time in the past, and of course, 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna, through the battle of Kurukshetra, killed or arranged that a lot of people were killed. 640 million people died in that battle of Kurukshetra. And again, the kingdom was again under the control of our Yudhisthira at that time, who was, of course, a pure devotee of the Lord. So now, of course, we come to the present time. The world is in not good condition at all. And it's just what Srila Prabhupada was describing, which he wrote a long time ago. But it's very much, it applies today more than any time. We see every country in the world is building their military strength, more and more technology, more and more everything they can do to increase their killing power. Any country that has the ability is making more and more atomic weapons, which and of course, in due course of time, they'll be used. They'll definitely be used. So, but just as Lord Krishna came, just as he came to reestablish religious principles back then, so he also has come in the form of the Sankirtan movement. We don't see any King Kritus and those kind of personalities appearing in the world now to take over the world in a Krishna conscious way. At the present time, the Lord appears in the form of the Sankirtan movement. The Sankirtan movement is not different from Krishna, not different from Lord Chaitanya, and by the Sankirtan movement, the only way that people could become ultimately happy is by the taking part in the Sankirtan movement. Otherwise, people in general are miserable. So much sinful activity, so much, at every moment you look in the news. At every moment, there's how many wars are going on everywhere, and in due course of time, we expect that there will be. As Srila mentions in this purport, actually, another war, World War III, will happen in due course of time. Srila said one time, why, when he was asked one time, why does Srila wrote this like more than 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Well, almost, probably around almost 50 years ago, this purport was written. So Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned about big war, World War III, and those things, and everyone at that time was thinking, okay, it's going to happen now immediately, and then it didn't happen. Srila Prabhupada said it's because the Sankirtan movement is going on, because there's so much devotional service, so things are being held back. So maybe sooner or later it will happen like that. But because Srila Prabhupada said when that time comes, there'll be a war, But when the war is over, and the preaching will become very good, because the big distraction for people in general, the taking of the path of Krishna consciousness, the big distraction is there's so much opportunity for material enjoyment. There's so much opportunity. We become very distracted. There are many wars, but Shilpa specifically mentions in this purport World War III.
Well, that's what I'm talking about right now. The Russian, Israel, Palestine, Iran, States, pretty much everything. The Russian war and they need to South America.
Well, maybe that's yes. So maybe that's what maybe it's not being called a World War III. Hopefully, we're fortunate that maybe the bombs and all. And the only way anybody wants to use the bombs, the atomic bombs, because as soon as you do one, then your country also gets wiped out. So like Shilpa said, everyone wants peace. But the idea is everyone wants peace, but they want peace so I can enjoy it nicely. So of course, for me to be peaceful, I've got to control everyone else. So that's the only way. Really, the only way to have real peace in the world is if everyone has one goal, and that one goal is to become Krishna conscious. That's the only way that there's going to actually be peace in the world. So in the present age, just as Lord Krishna appeared personally in the previous age, in the end of the Dwapara Yuga. So in the present age, the Lord appears in the form of the Sankirtan movement. And by doing that, by spreading of this movement, which will happen, it is happening, and it will continue to happen more and more, that people in general, more and more will become Krishna conscious. The Prabhupada said if the whole world could change, if there was just 1% of the world became pure devotees of Krishna, 1%, change everything for the better. So we'll see how it all plays out. But we are part of this Sankirtan movement. We've been given this opportunity to be part of the Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, and we should. It's actually a glorious opportunity to be able to take part in this movement. And it's like you say it's like being on the winning team. Okay, where it's the winning team. The winning team is Lord Chaitanya's team. So we are on the winning team because no matter what we do, or the best we could do, we give our life over this. But we know that ultimately the winning team it's Lord Krishna that wins, and we're on the Krishna team, on the Lord Chaitanya team. And by even participating on this team, by playing on this team, and in due course of time, we also we all individually we also become Krishna conscious. So it's also a big win. So in a regular material wars and so on, they say, who won the war? No one wins the war, really, because in the beginning, in the end, everyone is fighting. Every country or every side that's fighting there's so much problem, so many people die, so much property is destroyed, and all that, and it doesn't ultimately solve the problem. It's just like they can't go any further until the next time that they think, okay, well, next time we'll get it together, we'll make more weapons, we'll get better weapons, and next time we're going to win. Yeah, that's not going to solve the actual problem. The actual problem is the real problems of life are what? Birth, disease, old age, and death. Those things are going to happen anyway. Even if you have a nice, peaceful society, birth, disease, old age, and death, it happens. So those who participate in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan army, so to speak, we get so much. We can experience the blissfulness of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. We can experience that. We can, you know, we just like we have, and materially speaking, some places in the world people are starving, but in a Hare Krishna community, at least in the Hare Krishna temple, I've never experienced in the last 50-some years that I've been involved. I've never seen a time that devotees of the temple were starving. Usually we're saying, can't eat anymore. It's too much prasad. So Krishna takes care, and Krishna's not poor because he like Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is maintaining everyone. He maintains the little ant with some little sugar or something, and he maintains the big elephants. There's food for everyone. There's actually it's not that this not theory. This idea, overpopulation, too many people in the world, so there's not enough food. It's not real. There are a lot of people in the world. There could be a lot more people in the world. In fact, you read the Mahabharata about Yudhisthira. He had, I don't remember the numbers now, but huge numbers of bodyguards or assistants. I don't know. There were huge numbers that they're referring to. The world actually was probably more people in the world at that time than there are now. But there was so that the earth can provide everything needed as far as food and everything we need if the people in general are just Krishna conscious. So we have a great mission. We've been given a chance, the opportunity to take part in. We have this great mission that to give Krishna consciousness to others. The movement's going to spread no matter what. So we could say, oh well, maybe I won't take part. Maybe this whole thing will fall apart. I'm not going to help with this or something. But whatever we may think, but ultimately, the Krishna consciousness movement is going to spread everywhere. It'll spread everywhere. So we just need to take part in it. We need to take part and give the credit. It's like Lord Krishna told Arjuna, "I've already decided that this war is finished. And this war, you're going to win. You're going to win the war. So I've already decided that. So you Arjuna, you the Pandavas, you simply fight. You do your part and fight. But I've already decided that you're going to win this war." Which of course they did. After so many attempts to kill them, still they survived and they won. So in the same way, the Sankirtan movement is going on, and it will continue to go on until during the time that Lord Chaitanya says is the end of the golden era, which is a 10,000 year period, started 500 years approximately ago, and until until that time that the era is going to end, this movement will spread, and and then of course Kali Yuga will really take over. It'll go really crazy. But there will still be devotees around somewhere, and some devotees, even there's said that they'll be present, who are present now even, or will be still there at the end of the Kali Yuga, and after the Kalki Avatar comes for his last performance, killing all the demoniac people, then the whole Satya Yuga starts all over again because demonic have stopped, devotees in charge, and of course everything starts all over again for the next cycle. Anyway, here's a couple points related to this important verse. Any questions, comments? Okay, so we'll end for today, and tomorrow somebody else will be giving class, I guess. Yeah, Sunday. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.